either a foreign power or someone that was behind the protests. I've heard that.
Actually, I've heard that, and actually, if we are to accuse anyone of of bringing foreign powers, it is the government for allowing the IMF to draft the finance bill that was rejected. We don't have foreign power supporting us.
You
There's
think
no
it
one
wasn't
behind
drafted
us.
here?
It wasn't drafted here. That is intel that we have, and that is one of the questions they were asking people who were abducted. That who is the intel, who is giving them the insider information as to who drafted the finance bill. If themselves they feel very guilty to the extent that they're asking for informers, then it means that must be true. They're just proving the point. All right.
There's one thing you are asking MPs. Let me see this hand.
Yeah.
Then, what's up?
Pole.
Pole. Hii mkono iko na shida?
Hii mkono. This is one of the hands that they
I wanted to check your watch, but
oh really?
Sorry.
Yeah, this is one of the hands that they hit. The guys who abducted me.
You abducted?
And still healing.
Where were you abducted from? When did it happen? Was it after the storming of Parliament or something like that?
Yeah, it was after. Well, Sikoli, it looks like you are not online, but anyway.
No, I'm just trying to put. I might have a little bit of information, but I want to hear from you.
From me myself.
The horse's mouth. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was abducted at that was 26th Wednesday, immediately after the 25th Parliament storming. So when we stormed the Parliament on Tuesday, the next day they came for me. Because we had actually planned for another protest on the Thursday of that same week.
Yeah,
all right. For them, they thought that was like the biggest thing. That was the culmination of everything.
Yes.
But for us, we thought that is just a subtotal. See how you normally draft budgets? You have you do 1, 2, 3 subtotal, 1, 2, 3 subtotal, and then there's a total down there.
Yes.
Now that is one of the subtotals. So the Wednesday they came for me in Rongai, Olerai. Yeah, they grabbed me, put me into their car.
At home or where?
I was actually leaving because I had gotten wind of the fact that they were looking for me. I didn't know who they were really, but I was told there are people looking for me. And I received calls from 3 people telling me wherever you are, just leave. Because whatever we were talking about yesterday, whatever, they were confirming what I had been told the day before, that Tuesday evening. So when I was leaving, I had not actually, it's like they were already like following up. They really knew where I was. Because the moment I left, I walked for a few meters, about 500 meters. And I had someone call me, "Hey, Okayo, salimia watu wako wa KSL bwana." So I was like, oh, okay, that must be KSL guys. Because most KSL guys live in Rongai actually. Okay. That is their den. So when I turned back to go greet my KSL guys, they grabbed me, dragged me to the car, this black car that they were using, and cuffed my hands and blindfolded me. They actually covered my whole head in a sackcloth black one. And yes, they drove in silence for 30 minutes, about 30 minutes, just silent. Then they were like, "Oh, okay, now this is you. All right, now, why did you release a statement and calling on students to continue with the protests on the streets?" I was like, that was the right thing to do, and it still is the right thing to do. And this is because the day before, that Tuesday, 2 of our students had been abducted, and we released a statement calling for their immediate and unconditional release. And it went viral. So many, I think, pro-government agencies were not happy with that.
Yes.
And then we called on all students to go to the streets, and we called off classes. We said classes are not going to proceed until our students are released. So yeah, and they were asking questions, about who is funding the protests. Why are we so excited? What is the motivation? All right. Is it just that we are idle, or is there someone paying us to go to the streets? All right. They were asking us questions as to really, what is the end goal? What do we want to achieve? Okay. And they also got to ask me, if I would want to cooperate so that they can see how we can work. All this time they were asking questions and driving now. But they made a first stop when I was not speaking. They realized I didn't have the answers they were looking for. So they got me out of the car, took me to the boot, drove off. For some time, about 2 hours. Then
2 hours
driving
in a boot.
in a boot.
What was going on in your mind at that particular
At
time?
that particular point, I was just like, "Ay, kumbe ni real." Yeah, I had people were abducted, and I had some people were being dragged and all. I thought it was a joke. When I was told some people are looking for me because of the letter that I did, and there's a video I made that, or rather that was recorded of me that went really far about me talking about IMF and World Bank being the drafters of the bill. I thought it was a joke until this moment. I was like, this is real. So I didn't know what they were going to do with me. Really, you could not think about anything serious, anything in particular. Because at that point, you're just like, what next? I mean, you are here, they have blindfolded you, they have cuffed your hands. There's nothing I can do. I was just blank. I said, let's see where this will head.
Liwe liwalo.
Liwe liwalo. So after about 2 hours, they come, they get me out of the boot, they drag me, we walk to, I could tell it's some room, they push me in there. I just fell down and maintained that position because look, my hands are tied, right, and my head is covered. So I stayed there for some time. Then they came back, 3 of them now, and started asking the same questions, but this time now beating me, hitting me on my ankles and legs with some steel, metal rod.
Metal rods.
Yeah, metal rod. Hitting my chest, my neck, trying to choke me on the neck, my back, my arm. You see, this one is until now. This is inactive. My left arm is inactive. It's very painful. Yeah. So they kept hitting me. They kept beating me. Every question I don't answer, a beating, and because in their heads they could not believe really that I didn't have answers to these questions they were asking. Yeah, that's how it went. They could take some time. They come back intermittently, to ask me the same questions and hitting me, believing that I'll probably volunteer information, which I did not have. Yeah, so it went, I think they came back like 4 times. Then the very last time they came, they opened the door. They got me up, took me to the same car, in the boot, drove off. Again, this time for about 2 hours. Then they threw me out of the car.
So, in total, how long were you in the hands of abductors?
I went out, they took me at around 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Then I found myself awake on a Friday around 10, 11. So it's like
days.
it's like about 46 hours, 48, 46 hours thereabout.
That's a very long time.
Yeah.
When you don't know what will really happen.
You don't know what will happen. You don't know what time it is because your eyes are covered. There's nothing you can see. You can only hear. You can only hear things. And at the same time, sometimes you don't even concentrate on anything because you've been hit. And you are very aware of your environment, so that every time the door is opened, you know, I don't know if you know the feeling of not being able to do anything, and you can tell that there's a danger. There's a danger that is coming.
Did you ever think that probably you will not make out? Did it cross your mind? Because at that particular time, I don't know what I'll be thinking myself.
Yeah. At that point, you're also reflecting. So I was reflecting and I was saying, maybe these people have a plan of killing me. And if that is what they're going to do, let it be so. But one thing I know is that people will remember that we were fighting for a just cause. But at the same time, I held to the faith and hope that I will come out alive. and be a living testimony and come out and tell the vices that this government is putting on its people, the kind of bad things that the government is perpetrating. And that is why actually I'm out and I'm speaking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So later when you were out, I don't know if when did you start hearing stories of people who had been abducted and they are found dead?
Yeah.
Was it before your abduction or after your abduction?
That was after. Before I knew the people who were abducted, but there were some, actually all that I knew were found alive. When I came out now, my friends, especially the council from, my council at the Kenya School of Law, who were very close to me, now they were updating me and telling me how they went all out, to ensure that they made the most noise, which really contributed to probably those people letting me go alive. They were giving me updates of those who had been abducted and have not been found, and later on, now I started getting news of people who had been abducted and found dead, like Denzel. It hurts me so much. It pains me so much that, especially when I think that I was in the same circumstance, but it turned out differently. It really hurts, and I pray that these people I don't know, they get what they deserve.
From the questioning, what did you deduce? Who are these people?
These are people who are sent by they were sent by people who are enraged by the protests. And of course, definitely, the protests were against Ruto's government. So that means these are people who are sent by people working for the government. I can't speak for them. I can't say they are the police or anyone, but these are people working for the government. Because their real concern was, why are we protesting? Who is funding the protest? How do I know some people who are perceived to be leading the protests? And why am I leading, that clique of people that I lead for protests? It was all around protests. So I can tell these are people who are sent by the government to come and get to know information about our arrangement.
So, what will make you happy? Because we have seen so far the president has dissolved his cabinet. We have seen the rejection of the finance bill 2024, where we have seen the cutting of budget. That's what the president has announced. But what, from what what I'm reading on social media, is you are not satisfied.
Yeah, definitely we are not satisfied. That is just a click of things we want. That is just a drop of the things we want. Right now, the number one thing we want is justice. The families that have lost their people should be compensated. And those people who are implicated in these murders and illegal abductions, the injuries caused, they should face the law. They should be criminally liable, all right, for their actions. And individually and severally, as groups, those who are performing as groups, as officers, those officers should be held liable. And that is justice. Number two is the families should be compensated. Even those who are abducted, the torture they went through, the mental and physical torture that they went through, those should be compensated. All right? At the same time, we should get a commitment that none of these things are going to happen again. It is not about firing CSS, because some are going to come. And we are seeing others who are in that same cabinet will come back. All right? It is not a matter of rejecting finance bill. It was not supposed to be there in the first place. So you telling us that you have decided to write a memorandum to the parliament to delete all the sections of that provision is not enough. Okay?
What will be enough?
The IG resigning, he should have resigned a long time ago.
Yes.
That is not, you should not tell us this. That is not something really we should be talking about. Okay? What we're talking about is we want justice, number one. Number two, we want accountable governance. All right? And accountable governance, we are not going to get that from the current president, William Samoei Ruto. It is not in him. It is not in. You cannot put them in the same sentence. That means, in short, what I'm saying that we don't want to get, you want me to say directly, is that we want the president to resign and go home. If he meant well for us, we would not have gotten to the point of people being killed on the streets. If he meant well for us, we would not have gotten to the point of people being abducted illegally and, and being tortured and going through the sufferings they've gone through. If he meant well for us, we would not get a punitive bill that is seeking to increase taxes and increase the economic conditions, or make it harder for the people of Kenya, the common mwananchi, to afford something as little as bread. All right? If he meant well for us, this CSS should not have been appointed in the first place. Some of them were incompetent from the word go. And it was said in Parliament. Honorable John Baddy made reference to the CSS that were appointed by the president. He should not have done that in the first place. He should have listened to our representatives. All right? But because he did not listen to our representatives, we decided to take power in our own hands in accordance with Article 1 of the Constitution. All right, sovereign power belongs to the people, and shall be exercised only in accordance with the Constitution. The people may, optional.
The word
Optional. May.
may.
All right, either exercise their power directly or through democratically elected representatives.
Yeah.
Right? We have gone for that Article 1 and we have usurped our powers.
Now you are saying shall.
Shall.
Not may.
Not may.
That's tough.
That is what we want to see all that.
So, but people are asking, when you look at the recent move, we've seen Raila Odinga and meet with President William Ruto, and what they're talking about dialogue. Is it something you want to explore as the young generation?
You know, the young generation, the young people have always cried that, look, let us be included. Let us be involved in dialogues, in conversations of national importance. But they've never listened. All right? What they did is they waited until they realized, kumbe, these guys are serious. Then they're trying to call us to the table of dialogue. It's a delusion. We should not be deluded into thinking that this government actually cares. We should not be deluded into thinking that because the government has called the other side, the opposition, that now we have a picture of unity. There is no unity. It's all hoax. I mean, they have realized they're now managing this state. They're managing the scenario, but they are the same people. Nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change. They will still make the same mistakes they made in appointments. They will still reappoint others. I actually think some will be paid for work they're not doing. All right? And still taxes they still have an appetite for more tax.
So if William Ruto resigns, what's next?
If William Ruto resigns,
what's next?
What's next?
Yeah.
We shall reconstitute the government. We shall reconstitute the government.
There is no
I mean, there's no, we don't, there's no only one person who can who can be president. We have so many people who can be president.
Yeah, but there is no IBC right now.
What do you mean that there's no IBC?
We don't have a commission.
We don't have a commission, but we have a secretariat at the IEBC. That secretariat, we shall ensure. I mean, we have a parliament, don't we? Parliament has not been dissolved. The National Assembly and the Senate. The Speaker of the National Assembly will be at the presidency for a period of 90 days as we sort the issues and as we sweep everywhere to ensure Kenya is
So we
is
go back
clean.
to the constitution and the hierarchy.
Exactly. And once he's there, he's just taking it. Ni kama tuseme aje, an agent of the people. We shall have him there just for some time as we reconstitute the what? The IEBC. All right? Once IEBC is reconstituted, we go to the ballot immediately. That is what the Constitution provides. That is what we shall do.
What if President William Ruto has extended, people say, those in government say, has extended an olive branch to the young generation, to people like you? he wants to have a conversation. Remember the other day he had he was on X basis to have a dialogue with the young people. But you guys still say no.
No, we had a dialogue. Actually, it wasn't a dialogue. We want a dialogue where we are talking, they are talking, and we are agreeing. But here is, they call something a dialogue. You know, the meaning of dialogue is a conversation, what we are doing right now. But here is a state where someone is delivering a speech.
He was more defending himself.
He was defending himself more than talking to us. That is not what we want. That is not dialogue. You cannot come to the, you cannot come to the platform and start delivering your speech and tell us everything you've done and everything that you plan to do, which are all lies, and you think that that is not dialogue.
Okay.
Yes.
Last question. Where were you on the 25th of June, 2024?
At what time? Depends, really. What time?
That particular time. The big time.
The big
most
time.
talked about, the time that is most talked about in the country and globally now. Storming of Parliament.
I was in the CBD of Nairobi.
So you were not near Parliament?
No, of course, I mean...